the vast majority of our audience, saw the internet stories last week about the lady in LA who was supposedly killed by an adjustment. I'm sure you guys seen that.
I didn't see it.
It was all over social media.
Okay, so it
was even on the news. It was on like the news channels was talking about it.
So it was a chiropractor. It was on
Fox News.
Right, a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Went to see a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Chiropractor.
And she died, and the coroner said her adjustment did it. So I wanted to talk about that today.
Okay. Oh, well.
And this.
Because you do that.
Yes, I do, and I'm sure everybody saw this story, and even my staff was like, "Are you really going to talk about that today on the air?"
Well, that's what
I'm like, "Yes, I am."
When I saw your text, I was like, "I don't think I want to tell anybody this, Doc."
I don't shy away from stories like this.
Okay.
I can debunk this silly story
right.
with one really common sense
Put
answer.
on your big girl panties. Let's go, dude.
So here's the theory. The theory is that this girl got adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
And then supposedly some artery tore, and then she died 2 days later from it. 2 days later she died.
Okay.
Okay. So here's my thing.
I have a feeling you're going to sit here and debunk that.
Of course, because it's stupid. So if I tear someone's artery that they're talking about was torn in your neck, you have about 30 seconds to live. So if she would have died in the office, yes, maybe that happened. But which it's never happened, by the way. But if that would have actually happened the way the coroner said, it would have been very obvious because she would have had about 30 seconds to live.
Okay.
Not 2 days later. Mm-hmm. So the coroner has lost his mind on this one, or he was biased or whatever. But it was just made out of ignorance. I don't know, for whatever reason. But I think he should be forced to resign, because if you shouldn't be deciding how someone died if you think that you can sever someone's vertebral artery and then 2 days later all of a sudden they die from it. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. She would have been dead in 30 seconds if that was the case, which that's never actually happened in real life, by the way. But let's get into this. Let's talk about some of the details of how safe medical and chiropractic procedures are. How safe is what we actually do every day, and don't ever really think about it. So let's get into some of that. Now,
this is going to be good. Let me adjust my chair and everything.
Now, spinal adjustments are one of those things that people either love them or hate them, depending on their past experiences. And so they either went and it worked really miraculous and solved their problem and they love it, or they went and had a bad experience for some reason, or somebody they know had a bad experience, and then all of a sudden it's something that you shouldn't do and they hate it. And that's really weird, because just because someone went and had a bad adjustment 20 years ago doesn't mean that all chiropractors do the same thing and are bad.
That's right.
We're the only profession that gets judged that way. It's like people don't do that with any other profession out there, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why they do that with chiropractic. I mean, can you imagine saying, I had a bad haircut 20 years ago, and those hairdressers, they're all nuts. Never know what they're doing. I'm never getting my hair cut again. I mean, no one would do that. Right. And so for some reason, just because one physician may have done something that didn't go well doesn't mean that some of these newer techniques and the newer education that we have and all that is going to be the same way. And so chiropractic is now an 8-year doctorate degree, just like any other doctor out there. And in fact, we take a total of about 2,419 hours of study, and the average medical doctor takes about 2,419 hours of study. And we take courses on microbiology. We take courses on gynecology, where we learn how to do pap smears and pelvic exams, although I'm not going to be doing that in my office. We take gross anatomy, where we dissect a human cadaver for a year, every single part of it. And so, we're actually doctors. And some people think it's like a 6-month weekend course or something, and it's not. And so, speaking of gross anatomy, pretty funny, the first day of gross anatomy, what we did, our very opening day, is we took a bone saw and we cut the brain and spinal cord out.
Well, okay, Doc.
And we carried
Enjoy your cornflakes, everybody.
On day one?
On day one. And
wow.
We carried that across the hall, and we studied the brain and spinal cord 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week we studied the rest of the body. And so it was really funny. Girls were passing out and throwing up, and some guys too. It was really funny. That stuff never bothers me. I'm always fascinated by it.
Doc, I'm not sure. You should have laughed at those people.
And so, we took courses just like any other doctor out there. And chiropractic is now considered the safest form of healthcare on the planet. And so what I'm going to do when we get back from break is I'm going to give you some real statistics on just how dangerous the treatments you're already doing every day. How dangerous is taking a Tylenol? How dangerous is taking Advil? How dangerous is walking across the street? So we're going to compare all of these different statistics on how safe actually what you do every day is, and compare that with some medical procedures that you may be having. And let's see what your risk of dying actually is from all these things. So stay tuned. It's going to be fascinating after the break.
All right.